Welcome back. It's Tuesday morning. I decided to wake up at 3 o'clock this morning for no reason, really. Must have got to sleep a little bit too early. But I want to get this motor ready to go in the car. And we painted it a long time ago. That was like one of the first videos I did. But the manifold's just loose on here. This is actually off Gold Rush. I robbed the manifold off of this motor and put it on Gold Rush. I'm not sure whether this is the intake manifold I'm going to end up using. So I'm going to bolt this up, but we're probably going to end up changing this intake manifold to an aluminum air gap. But I'm waiting for the marketplace to open up and have one that's affordable, because I really don't want to order one new. But I got the finned valve covers. These ones didn't work with the air gap, so I should probably consider that. So I'm going to swap the valve covers over, bolt this down, put my plate on here so the cherry picker will hook. We'll get to work here. But I kind of want to see this thing looking better than it is. I like my big block Chevys to look good. Who doesn't? Woke up the other night, I had shin splints. I'm not a runner, not like a walker. Doesn't make any sense. Online it just says, that I could potentially have flat feet and I need better arch support. So I got that going for me. These are nice. I'd like to order some aluminum heads for this thing, because these are the peanut heads that aren't desirable. Did I turn this thing on? Yeah. Sometimes you get a bunch of footage when you're making these videos and you go to edit them and the audio is completely gone because you forgot to turn your microphone on. And a lot of times that's when I just play music for you guys, because I can't reenact this. The work's already done. Can't just start over. Nope. Okay, I got these ARP fancy valve cover studs. These were $72.95 from Summit, just to make these bolt up. I could have used some really long bolts, but nope. Didn't want them to look like that. But I'm thinking we could stick this motor in the car soon. Pretty sure we're just going to stick a Turbo 400 in this thing, because you really can't go wrong. I don't really want to go down the rat hole of running a 4L80 with a carburetor, even though I did finally figure it out. That was a pain in the butt. Went through 3 standalone computers, had the transmission out 4 times. There was just nothing fun about that. Then when I finally got it fixed, I took it on the drag and drive and tried to break it. Tried pretty hard too. Oh, this needs to be cleaned off. Somebody got paint all on here. It was me. Got a shop heater going on here. Let you take a peek at that. When I want to warm up, I just walk over here and stand in front of it. These things are really cool. Well, they're really hot. you know, because they put out heat. But I've been using one of these in my school bus for 3 years. They're pretty amazing, and they're efficient too. I don't know, my bus is like 200 square feet. I've got a little 12,000 BTU catalytic heater is what it's called. But you can put a fan up in there, and it's a great shop heater, or, you know, house. Works pretty good. They didn't sponsor this video. I don't have any sponsors. All right, let's get back to this motor. Make this thing. All right, let's get back to this motor. Let's make it look better than it does. I need to clean this up. This is the Olds Gold 415 enamel. I've put this on 3 different motors. I like it. Might need to buy some razor blades. Gonna pay this motor off today. It was one of those take it now and pay me later deals, because it was right before the Redwood rally. I didn't want to wipe out my car fund. He was cool with that. Good guy. This motor didn't have the power that his cars typically run. He runs them motors in them that they got a lot of juice in them. I don't think this is going to be, but maybe I'd be shocked if it's 300. But we might just spice this thing up. See how the economy treats us. Using a Scotch-Brite pad and brake clean. It's just so much easier to get all this stuff cleaned up and done when this motor's just right here. You do all this prep work and you put this thing in the car with the plan to not have oil leaks. The Suburban, the motor that's in it, I did the same thing. I replaced all the gaskets on it. I'm not going to replace all the gaskets on this one, and then Gold Rush's motor, I replaced a bunch of the gaskets on it, cleaned all the surfaces like this, and haven't had a leak in either one of them. Well, I took a fellow's advice on those Felpro one-piece gaskets. His advice was just throw that thing in there. You don't need any RTV at all. You do. So I had to replace that pan gasket, and them things are 30 or 70 some dollars, I think. And it was more cost effective just to buy the whole gasket kit, because then you end up with a whole bunch more gasket stuff, which I'll end up using because now I've got 2 big blocks. I need a lot more stuff for this motor. I'm going to need a balancer, water pump. Can't remember if I bought a water pump or not. I'll use all the same parts that I used on Gold Rush, because I know that it worked, for one. And then all my belt, well, one belt, 2 belts would be interchangeable, so I'll just use the same parts. Let's stick this on there. And this has got the gasket glued to the valve cover. That was Something I learned this year from some of the dive bombers. I like it. I don't like the oil fill all the way back here. But I guess with a tilt front end, it's going to be fine. And that gets a breather, so the breather will be in the front. Dang it, I forgot to put the washers on. Dang it. Maybe I can find one of those high-rise manifolds for this. That would be cool. Which I really don't want to have a hole in my hood. I know that's like the thing to do with gassers. Sure. This thing's a mess. That breather, when I was running these valve covers on Gold Rush, that thing's got blow by. So it's got oil all over it. We'll get it cleaned up. Can't be having that on this wagon. Finally did a video with the Suburban. Maybe you guys have seen that already. We could put a big block in it. I like that truck to get good gas mileage, so that's why I've got a small block in there. I was getting like 16 miles per gallon in that thing. I don't know what it gets now, but maybe a big block would actually give it better mileage because it would take less power. Because like with Gold Rush, that big block that's in it, that thing, driving it around town, you just leave it at idle. And then when you want to party, you just, it parties. I got this thing on one. I don't want to get these too tight. Then once you fire this thing up, warm this thing up, you go in and tighten all these by hand. I've been watching our video over and over again from the Redwood Rally. If you're interested in watching it, it's on Dive Bomber's Garage. This 2025. Hey, that's me right there. Well, I'm going to have to get a gas fuel pump for this too. You know what? As I'm talking about this stuff, I need to be writing it down. I've got a set of ARP manifold bolts. Who knows? This thing might end up with a quadrajet. We've got a friend in town here that rebuilds the quadrajets. Does a really good job. And those things, they're good carburetors. I think they get a bad rap because people don't know how to work on them. They're not as simple as like an Edelbrock, for instance. I think I'll take and blow this thing off. Oh my gosh, that thing's heavy. I'm not taking that off. That was such a fun trip. There's Gold Rush. Oh, what do I want to do here? I don't need to put all the bolts in, just enough to hold this thing on there so we can lift it up in the air. Sure, let's go with that. Should be good enough to lift this thing in the air. These are grade 8. Maybe today I'll pick up the transmission. Hey, that's the guy I got the motor from, Jace. He rode in that 27 Model T.
Which one? The black suit with the jitters?
Will you sit in there so we can see it? Yeah. How long does it take to get in here? That averaged right around 5 seconds. That car.
Chris Ballard. That twin turbocharged fire breathing monster. Ballard 484.
There's Phil. He drives the 55 gasser. Well, I've got an idea. I want to wheel this over, put it in front of the car, bolt the headers on. Well, we got to get it centered. It's the hold up here. Just got to find the right hole, I guess. Probably should have grabbed a wrench. I'm not going to install this motor with these headers on it. I just want to look at it, you know, show this thing off. These headers are awesome. I like getting parts from Speedway. It takes a while to get them because they're 5 days shipping. Well, let's stand back and take a peek. Yeah. I like it. I think these here pipes are going to look pretty good. I'd like to find a air gap, get the carburetor up a little bit higher, but I like it a lot. So later on today, hopefully I'll grab a donor transmission that's gutted. We'll bolt the mid plate on here, the transmission, and the motor mount that we got to weld in, and we'll drop this thing in there. Then it'll look really cool in the car. Then we can just slap our tilt front end back on and go for a drive. Nope. Well, we got our transmission. It's a Turbo 400 out of a motorhome. Looks like it's gonna work. I can tell just by looking at the outside. The inside's perfectly fine. It's been at the coast most of its life. So I'm going to get the transmission bolted up to the motor, but I guess I'll move you over here. Yeah, we got our transmission. It's a Turbo 400 out of a motorhome, and it's got good ATF in it. It's real clean looking. I wasn't hoping that it would land on the floor like this, but it is. I've got some kitty litter. This is just bringing back so many memories of pulling the transmission out of Gold Rush 4 times and pulled the transmission out of the Suburban twice. No, 3 times. 3 times on that one, all in the matter of 2 years. So I've bought a lifetime supply of ATF in the last 2 years, and this is bringing back some memories. But we're going to get this transmission bolted up to the motor, and then we're going to drop that motor in there. And I've got a cherry picker with one bad wheel. Been that way ever since I've had it, 5 years. So I better get this cleaned up first. I'm thinking it's going to need a new dipstick gasket because I don't know what its deal is. Kind of wish it was drained, but it's not. I had the intentions of just using a dummy transmission, with no guts in it, which I have in the back of the Suburban. I wasn't anticipating having this transmission. But the good news is now I don't have to think about getting a transmission. I got one right here. Maybe you all know this trick already, but if you open your valve, well, does this have the... So you open your valve on your hydraulic shaft here, and you lift this up by hand. I always just go as high as I can, and then you just close this thing off. It's a lot less pumping you got to do. All right, I want this to not spin, so I'm going to change this linkage so it's sideways. Just like that. You leave these chains in there twisted. When you lift it up, it's going to twist. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you do. Now we can take it off its stand. Pressure on that. And I'm just putting this in there for mock-up, so I'm not worried about having the torque converter and the flex plate on, because this is going to go in there. Things are going to get tacked up, test fit everything, and then it'll come back out, finish weld everything, paint it, go back in for the last time, and do burnouts. I doubt this thing's going to do a burnout, but we're going to try. That is for sure. I feel like this transmission is about ready to fall off. I'm just hoping that it doesn't. This cherry picker has issues. It's got one wheel that's bad, so it doesn't go straight very well. Kind of crab walks. Well, we got a lot of ETF. It's a good fire starter. Gonna need to start a fire here soon. Yep. Okay, so we are coming in. I should probably get my hardware ready. Oh yeah. Whenever they hit each other, that's when you know you're close. Yep. Oh, dang it. I forgot to put the mid plate on. This is a very important piece to this installation. Well, now that we know this fits, I'm going to pull it back out. That was the plan all along. It wasn't. I got to put this mid plate in. I should have done this when I mounted the transmission to the motor. Goes in between the two. So let's pull this back out, separate the transmission again, and put it back in. So now that this is in here, later on tonight I'll get an angle finder. I'll put an angle finder on the block, angle finder on the chassis, and I'll get I can't remember the degrees, but I'll get the degrees right, make sure it's square, tack in the motor mount, and then I can do my transmission bracket and then make the mid plate bracket Once that's done, the motor and transmission will come back out, and then I'll finish weld everything. Probably same time I'll finish the tilt front end brackets, and then we can put the motor back in and start wiring the car. Which before we wire the car, we got to finish the paint work. So this isn't a exciting point of completion, in my opinion. It's just a little bit closer to where we're going, which is down the road eventually. You know what I'm saying? So, but the motor's in again with the mid plate. The motor mount bracket is, I cut that thing perfect. It's going to weld right in. Transmission, I'll probably have to jack up some more to get my angle right. But this is a good start. Thanks for watching.